Hey everyone, Victor is here with a quick announcement. We're excited to announce our second annual Kong Summit Virtual Hackathon. We want to see your ideas, your cognation around Kong and Kong products. For example, it can be something like Kong or Insomnia plugin, or some clever automation hack you build around Kubernetes and Kong Mesh. Or it can be even contribution to Kong itself or Kong documentation. Sky, or rather your imagination and technical skills in this case, is the limit. This hackathon is time-boxed, so you cannot procrastinate indefinitely. It's just only for 27 days and you don't have to work on this all the time. You will be surprised what you can do if you work on something just for a few days every day. Now, another important note, submissions are open on September 1st and closed on September 27th, in the first day of Kong Summit in San Francisco. So show us what you can build and you can win awards and exclusive hackathon swag. Everyone registered will get an exclusive Kong Summit 2022 t-shirt. The top 4 contributors will win $250 gift card, with top overall contributor will win $500 gift card and one-of-a-kind trophy that you will receive from the stage of Kong Summit. Now, speaking about Kong Summit, all valid submissions received before September 20th will receive a free ticket to our annual user conference. So get your submissions in early. Now, you don't know where to start or you feel like you're stuck. As saying goes, if you want to go far, go together. That's why you don't want to miss our weekly Kong Builder streams every Wednesday starting from August 31st. My fellow Kongers and I will guide you on how to start contributing to Kong, answer any questions you might have about Hackathon, and help you with your hacks. All this information and much more will be posted on official Kong Summit Hackathon website. You can find the link in the description below. I cannot wait to see what you will build. With this, my name is Victor Gamov, and as always, have a nice day.
All right. So, if anyone caught that, that was Victor giving us a rundown on the second annual hackathon for Kong Summit. So as he covered, of course, we are accepting submissions until September 27th. And today's episode is going to be all about running forward with some GitOps as an example for what kinds of things maybe you can do for the hackathon. So welcome to today's episode, and let's see. My name is Kat Morgan. I'll be your host for this hackathon themed session. What comes to mind? There's going to be, of course, swag for all submissions and then a chance at prizes if you are selected as one of the top winners. There are actually some fun prizes, so I can't wait to reveal those. And then as far as anything else that comes to mind today, Kong Summit is coming up. If you are interested in attending, of course, if you submit, that will include a free ticket to Kong Summit. So if you're in the area or able to travel, that's a really fun way to get your fees covered. And I think we're going to go ahead and dive into some GitOps for Kong now. I do have chat, so if you are watching from anywhere in the world, go ahead and say hi. Just let me know that the stream is connected and y'all are out there. I always love, of course, hearing where you're from and interacting with you guys while we walk through stuff. So if you are already familiar with the GitOps approach to deploying on Kubernetes, whether it's gateway or mesh or other applications, you might recognize some of what we're doing today. I'm going to be running with Argo CD, and we're going to be working in a repo that is currently empty. So today I got a little bit of a head start. I set up Docker desktop Kubernetes. And I went ahead and installed Argo CD on that. That's what I'm going to be using. It'll be a little bit of a preview for one of the talks that I will be doing at Kong Summit as well, and co-presenting with CodeFresh. So we're hacking on that today. But just if you like Flux, or if you want to work on docs, or if you want to do something really cool like create a Kong Cuddle Go binary, if you're a Go developer or something like that, that's an idea that we've heard the rumor mill talking about a little bit. So you could import deck libraries. Deck is the CLI for GitOps workflows without Kubernetes for Kong Gateway. And let's see. Components that I'm going to be working towards including today, we're going to start off with Kong Gateway because we're going to use that as our entry point into the service mesh. And if we get that up and running in time, we will also start GitOpsing the mesh, probably just doing a local single zone. But over the next couple of weeks, I will have code ready for that to be demonstrating a multi-zone as well. So just so you know where we're building to. All right, I guess let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. You can see here I have Docker Desktop running. If you have not used it for Kubernetes, you might recognize it. It's a similar function as like kind or minikube. And you can see it's as simple as going into Docker Desktop settings and enabling Kubernetes. And then that presents a load balancer like function where all of your connections resolve to localhost. So it'll steal ports from your localhost to access services. And let's go ahead and take a look. I have my pods in here. The only namespace that I've added so far is the Argo CD namespace and the deployment for that. And then I don't have a service for it yet. So we're going to set up the Helm values file, push that to Git, import it to Argo CD as an application set. And let's see, where is... This is going to be the repo that we're working in. So if anyone wants to follow along on the contents of our GitOps application set for Argo CD, you can follow along there. And then our web UI for Argo CD is here. You can see I haven't installed anything yet. So we're going to be also working to adopt some of the application set layout from the Argo CD examples repo. So I'm going to drop that here in case you are interested in taking a look at that. And from here, there's several different ways to work. App sets are what we're going to focus on. So let's take a look. Kong Insomnia plugin question. All right, so of the 4 products that Kong runs, that's Kong Gateway, Mesh. So Insomnia specifically, I have not practiced a whole lot myself. That's one that's a little bit out of my expertise. But we do have an Insomnia Slack, and then we also have a Kong Slack on the Kubernetes Slack. So if you want to hit up either of those channels, we can be a little bit more interactive there. And then if you want to reach out to me directly, feel free to. I'm userbencat on Twitter. or you can find me in Kubernetes Slack at the same handle, userbincat. And we will make sure and get you an answer on that. But I would have to look that up to get that to you right away. So good question. Thank you for asking. And let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull in some sample values that I have. If you want to take a look at the sample values that I'm going to be working from as a base, they are going to be here. That'll take you to an example values file in the Helm charts repo. And actually that includes some cert manager features that we're just about to release. So watch for the 3.0 release of Kong Gateway. The Helm chart will be shortly after that. And then you'll get to start playing with cert manager integration as well, which is super exciting to me. So let's go ahead and take a look at you'll notice in here we're going to be running against nip.io for our name resolution, and of course you'll recognize the 127 address. That's localhost. It's just a simple DNS service to provide resolution based on IP, and you can point it at localhost like that. Let's see. And then as far as certificates go, we're going to be issuing certificates with Cert Manager for our different Kong Gateway components. Again, the gateway here is going to primarily serve to be the entry point to our mesh, and then we're going to get ops the mesh as well. So that means we also need Cert Manager. Again, I haven't installed anything to this cluster except for Argo CD. So we're going to need to create a Cert Manager directory. So let's go ahead and pull up docs on Cert Manager deployment. I'm actually going to grab the docs that are coming out for the Cert Manager integration, and I am going to all right, so we're going to go ahead and grab docs on how to deploy a Helm chart with Argo CD. So we're going to go ahead and start by building a manifest to deploy, and we're going to run that based on this template. So we're going to call it an application. And we're going to change this to Cert Manager. For our namespace, our release name is going to be Cert Manager. Let's go ahead and take a look at what versions we have for that Helm chart. So we're going to list our repos, make sure that we do have Cert Manager, and we do not. So let's jump in and add, actually, do we have JetStack? Yes, we do. All right, so we're going to be using the Cert Manager from JetStack. So let's go ahead and do see how that goes. Cert Manager, the version that we're aiming for is 1.19. .1. Cool. So let's go ahead and grab the URL to JetStack. And of course, the chart we're going to install is Cert Manager. We're not going to be doing anything crazy with separate projects in Argo CD for this, so we're going to leave that to default. And of course, we're going to change this to Cert Manager. Okay, so there are ways to also do this in the web UI as well. So if we go to the Argo CD, we can say new app, and we can fill all of this out, including the cluster that we're deploying to, because Argo CD, of course, can deploy to multiple clusters. So like Mesh, it really ties together that multi-cluster story. We can name the release or the application, set different syncing policies, and then define the repository URL, whether that's Helm or a Git repo or so on. So let's go ahead and see what we get by running with this as it is. Now, this is going to be CRD for Argo specifically. So we're going to be hitting that API, and we're creating an application object. To make sure I'm on the right context, and sure enough, I am currently configured for kubectl to point at my Docker desktop. And let's see. I shouldn't have to, if I wanted to be really specific, I could specify the namespace, but the Argo CD resource already has namespace specified, so I'm going to try and be lazy on that. And right now we're just testing. So I'm going to see if we can get that applied like that. So in a future scenario, we're going to be able to actually point Argo CD at this Git repo where I'm building these resources, and it will be able to pick up all of the different applications for Cert Manager, for Kong Gateway, for Mesh, and then that will all be picked up from one application set as a group of applications for Argo CD. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first attempt to deploy this. Looks like we have either, let's go ahead and put a V in front of that 1.19. Unless we can do this. Let's actually give it a try. Just running that command manually. We can iterate a little faster that way. All right, so that is going to give us a little bit of a hang up. Let's see. take a look at, see if it'll give us any hints in here. We should be able to edit and say, okay, so it is picking up the different versions that are available, which is interesting to me. And the GUI is acting a little odd. Graphical user interface. Computers make everything easier, right? It's interesting. Home poll destination. Let's make sure that I'm actually getting the right. So that is the URL I put in. Jetstack Cert Manager is correct. And let's do this. Google for the win, right? This is going to be with him. I wonder if I can find... You know what? I just saw in the next Insomnia question. Your questions for that are fantastic. I am able to answer a lot on gateway and mesh things. The Insomnia piece is the part that I am not the expert on. There is a weekly stream for the Insomnia team, so I would recommend definitely catching up on those and possibly attending one so you can do more Q&A with the Insomnia team directly. And then I encourage you to find us either on Kubernetes Slack, in the Kong channel, or find me on Twitter at userbencat and message me. You're welcome to message me directly, and I am happy to follow up with you there. Thank you, Taryn. She's the best sidekick ever. She just dropped the Insomnia chat for you to jump into as well. And you can find a whole bunch of your answers there. If you don't get a good answer, hit me up directly and I will help you chase that answer down. Insomnia plugins are an awesome way to build submissions for the hackathon, so I definitely applaud your inspiration there and look forward to seeing what you bring. I'm sure I will be learning whatever you bring to the table for that. All right, so we're going to do... We get to troubleshoot our... That was the correct URL, which is good. There's a chance I'm going to grab this. So that 1.1, ooh, I see it. That's what it is. Off by a digit. All right, let's give that a try. We're going to jump back into it. Looks like we do not have errors yet, which is awesome. And a new error. Cert manager namespace not found. So we're going to look into how to create the namespace. So let's find out what the application spec is specifically, because I know that I can do this in the web UI, but I really want to actually figure out how to create the namespace from Argo CD. See if there are other parameters that we can set up. And then Argo CD does have its own CLI, so if you're on Mac, brew install Argo CD, we'll get that for you. A fun thing that I found, and I will actually be pushing some of these steps to the repo that I shared. Let's see, we're trying to do preview on this. So I have a README here. Let me go ahead and push that up right after this. But if you're logging in to the default admin user, you can grab the secret and then port forward to get localhost 8080. And we're only going to be port forwarding until we have an ingress controller there, so that then we can come in and let's do this. One thing that I was messing up on is I was attempting to log in with the CLI by prefacing it with the HTTPS, and that is not going to work out. So let's grab this, drop it in our README, and push the current state of SkidOps directory. So we're going to say, so let's get the secret, that's port forward, and let's log in. We're going to move these lines down here, and then we can go ahead and all right, so let's go ahead and push that up. We'll make sure that that is available. Sure enough. Okay, so you can see kind of how far we've gotten so far here. Kind cluster is a valid alternative. Again, I am using Docker Desktop right now. I started out on Kind, and I'm going to spin up a Kind cluster in a little bit to get back to the deploying multiple cluster service mesh. So let's go ahead and see where we are at with this sync. It looks like we need to create the namespace, and I'm wondering if I come in here and cheat just a little bit, edit namespace, cert manager, so we can do auto create namespace and then save, and then just cheat on that. We can do this sync policy, sync options, and okay, so we have create namespace equals true. Now let's see if that gave us what we needed to successfully sync this time. It is creating resources. Let's take a look at our cert manager namespace. Here we go. It looks like it's deploying, and we should have that shortly. I'm excited. All right, we have our first app written in YAML. So let's say we have all right. So we have our first app, and we can come back to applications, and you can see we'll have one of these cards for every single one of our different applications. So that's going to include Cert Manager, Kong, Kong Mesh, possibly multiple releases of Kong Mesh as we go. So let's go ahead and save and close that one. We're going to copy it. The next thing that we are going to need based on our docs is going to be, we're going to actually switch this to Docker Desktop so it aligns with what we're doing. The next thing we're going to need to do will be creating a namespace and configuring some secrets. So let's go ahead and create that first. So the quick start are Helm values. We're going to rename that to values. And we want the manifest. We're going to let Argo CD actually apply this. So that is how we're going to get kubectl to give us that manifest. Awesome. And now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to get the contents of our secret. So what we have here, we're putting a bunch of different tunables into one config secret. You can break these out into different things, which can be valid if you're using Vault integration or applying different RBAC rules to different secrets to control who can access what. So the portal session conf and admin session conf, these are different configurations for informing your browser what redirects are allowed and things like that. We're going pretty wide open at the moment during development, just because we are maintaining this example to get started to be flexible so that you can carry it to other environments, even pre-prod, without having to be extremely restrictive on valid certs, or if you're putting your API and your web UI behind different domain names, things like that. Each of those different kinds of permutations can lead to other tunables that you have to line up just right to make it work. So let's go ahead and we're going to do dry run client output YAML, and we're going to tee that into our config secret.yaml. And you can see that the kubectl create secret, so that command that I just ran, what that does is it allows you to do from literal, from file, things like that. This also works in a from file if you are loading your Kong license, and then it base64 encodes these different values. So you can see if I decode this one, it gives me a simple password that I'm using right now, which is just Kong. So let's go ahead and we can do, I'm trying to think if I want to do customize. I think that makes the most sense for this part. I'm going to deploy the gateway in two different pieces. I'm going to apply the customized components and then apply the Helm. So let's do this. Let's say move our secret and our namespace into customized directory. Actually, I think that's going to work for us. And let's go ahead and take a look at how to do customize. So we're going to go to Argo CD docs, and we want to specifically include, I can do specific files. Actually, no, I need to do core docs. And guides. Let's see. I actually haven't been on the customized docs a whole lot. Oh, this is the look at that. So they're going to show us the example, including, there we go. This is what we're looking for. Resources. So that's actually going to be pretty simple. Let's see if it is that easy. So in our customized directory, we dropped, and of course right now we are editing the customization file. So and there actually might be a create namespace tunable for the customization object. Let's see how that goes. So we're going to just attempt to do the customize without actually applying it right now. And it looks like that worked. So let's see if we can apply that to Argo. We're going to do, so what we'll see here is we can point it at a GitHub directory, which means we will need to first go ahead and push our resources. Let's see. All right, so in theory, we're going to get Argo CD to come in here and jump into the Kong directory and apply everything in this directory. And of course, I managed to get a swap directory in there. let's go ahead and make sure it doesn't put swap anywhere in our repo in the future. I'm going to do one more. All right, and we're going to remove the swap directory that we had. Actually, it should be gone because we closed Vim. Sure enough, okay. All right, so at this point, we should have just the resources we need in this subdirectory of our GitOps repo. So now we can go ahead and write the application. And I bet I will be rearranging a lot of this stuff once I have all of the artifacts in place. And our repo name, just to make sure I get it right, is Kong GitOps. We are going to be saying the path. So if we want to see how this example works, we could look at their example app, but I think we're going to be good just saying Kong customize for our path. Actually, so the person that I'm co-presenting this with at Kong Summit, where we're actually going to use Argo CD to GitOps deploy some of the mesh components like policies and things like that. We're going to show how with Kuma Mesh reaching out beyond Kubernetes, Argo CD and GitOps even applies in its natural form to resources and networking policies and controls beyond Kubernetes itself by attaching some of the universal mode Kuma Mesh nodes. So I'm really excited about that. Let's rename the application name. We're going to name it. I'm wondering if I need to specify what namespace it's going to be. I think I do. So we're going to name it Kong. Anyway, I was saying that I'm co-presenting this with Christian Hernandez from CodeFresh, and he is a Argo whiz. So Christian, hello. When you get to watch this, I promise you're gonna cringe at my first setup. But it's your fault because you didn't show up on the stream today. I invited you. All right, so we're gonna do Kong for the namespace, and now Kong namespace isn't going to be here, which means we need to actually jump into, where was our last app set? All right, so we're going to copy the trick we learned from the Cert Manager application set. And because we are going to end up doing multi-cluster, I do want to go ahead and specify destination so we're not making assumptions. And let's see, so that's repo URL. We are hitting the main branch, and let's see what we get with that. All right, so we're going to apply the customize application missing field project. All right, let's take a look at the template that we grabbed from Argo CD. It says we are, hey, that's right. So let's take a look at the cert manager application. I want to say we set it to default, yes. And now we have unknown field sync policy. I wonder that sync policy may be for Helm stuff only. That's an interesting error. All right, so if I do that, it is not going to like the namespace problem. Exactly. Okay, so let's take a look at, I guess the admission controller is not letting it run. Let's see if we can kind of reverse engineer that spec again, like we did before. So I'm going to create the namespace manually. I'm going to reapply. I guess that is probably because the app set is to Kong. So that's a good question. Whether or not this application needs to be set in the Kong namespace or the Argo namespace. I bet I did that wrong and I should have applied it to Argo CD. So like the cert manager, we applied it to the Argo CD namespace and it deployed to the Argo CD namespace. So let's actually retract what I did there, because that probably wouldn't have shown up anyway. And here, we're going to change that to Argo CD. All right, and now we do want to apply it with the right namespace, and we should get a new application in here for Kong dependencies. So I'm curious. All right, so it probably created our secret. It definitely made sure that the namespace exists. Let's take a look at the Kong namespace, and we'll go to secrets, and sure enough, here are our secrets. And again, if we want to talk through how it actually picked all of that up, we named the application, applied the application to the Argo API CRD resource, and we pointed it at our GitHub repo. So if we hadn't pushed up our artifacts to the GitHub repo, that wouldn't be there. Now, obviously, I pushed secrets to the repo, and it is a public repo. My clusters are built locally. They are not part of a public-facing internet, so I'm not worried about anyone using my super secret passwords. But a lot of times what you would want to do is actually inject secrets from, say, Vault or whatever secrets manager you're using. If you're in AWS or Azure, they have a secrets integration. And that would be a good way to inject the secrets without them being at risk of exposure to prying eyes. So then let's go ahead. Actually, the next thing we're going to do is deploy our Kong Helm chart. So that's going to be similar to how we did the Argo CD, but in this case, we're going to also inject the contents of the values file. So let's see how we're going to do that. I know we're coming up on time. This is a project that I will be working on for the next couple of weeks. So if you have any other like pressing questions, I know I didn't answer the insomnia questions. Definitely make sure that we get those answers to you in whatever location you're reaching out to us on, whether it's the Insomnia Slack or in Kubernetes Kong channel or on Twitter. We will follow up to make sure that you get those answers. And if there are any other pressing questions about the hackathon or about the GitOps project that I'm working on, or whatever comes to mind, feel free to speak up, and I am happy to use the remaining time on the stream to cover some of that. So I'm going to go back to my root directory. We're going to copy our application that is working for JetStack Cert Manager as a template. And then we're going to switch this stuff out. So let's switch this to Kong Gateway, namespace Argo CD, because I learned that the hard way. And the chart is going to be Kong. Now I am going to cheat just a little bit here and actually use my own repo where I have published the pre-release version of the chart that has the Cert Manager integration. Let's see. Oh, hey, look at that. I already pointed it at my fork. So that's going to be easy. And these features will be, again, released in the main Helm chart in probably either by the end of Friday or early next week is what I am told so far. So fingers crossed. You'll all have access to the Cert Manager stuff from the official repo in no time. All right, so let's go ahead and drop in that repo URL. And actually, I also need to let's say so we need the do Kong CC. No, we're gonna do this one. We're gonna do 2.14.0 is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, make sure I don't have copy paste problems there. All right, this particular values file that we're going to be using includes all of the components for the gateway, the control plane, the ingress controller, which is the main thing that we want for being able to pass traffic into our mesh that we're going to deploy. And we're going to set that to Kong. All right, let's see if this is going to work as we hit the end of the stream. Sync policy. See, I wonder why. That's odd. Okay, so that created, I guess we don't actually need to do the namespace because we're applying that with the kubectl manifest or application, but I want to solve that. Looks like we are ready to sync. See what we get. And it looks like it is deploying Kong Gateway. Let's take a look at our cluster. This should be sweet. And we are running, which means actually, let's just see. All right, so the ingress controller is still probably starting up. But with that, I am going to thank you all for being part of today's stream. Let's go ahead and say Kong Gateway app, push that up to the repo. If the GitOps and Argo CD stuff is of interest to you, watch the repo. There will be more coming out from that. And then when it's complete and we've done the presentation at Summit, I will be merging all of this into the Kong Laboratory repo that I have in the official Kong GitHub for future reference. Anyone that wants kind of a baseline for the Argo CD type deployment of Kong products. And other than that, we are looking forward to seeing you at Kong Summit, whether you attend in person or remotely. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the next stream.